Good morning. It is Friday, October the 16th. Trying something different out with the sound. See if I like this. Probably invest in a mic at some point so I don't have to have these in my ears. But I want to see how the sound comes across. Have not too much of an idea of what I want to say. That's been the case for most of these videos, and I like that better. I think things flow more authentically. They come more from the heart. I spent most of yesterday doing accounting for a business that I work within. It's a very small startup called Kunst, which means built art in German. Been around just a few years now, and we're really tiny. Like I said, it's just the founder, John. He's from upstate New York originally. Super quirky, smart guy, really talented with investments and securing funding for what we do. And what we do is we take these old row houses here in over the Rhine in Cincinnati. And when I say old, I mean like the 1800s. These were buildings constructed originally by mostly German people who came over here. And what we do is we try to maintain the historic integrity of the structure as much as we can. John's partner, his romantic partner, Alyssa, she's amazing. I love her. She is a history buff. She has her PhD in history, I believe. And she helps us secure all these really lucrative tax credits for the business, for the historical aspect, and helps us know what we need to do in terms of staying, within the guidelines so that we're able to, again, honor the historic, and preserve the historic integrity of these amazing buildings. So we renovate them. We use local artists to do the finishes, butcher block countertops. We try to use local merchants as often as possible, I should say. And we just turn them into handsome apartments that are really centered around community. We have common living space in the buildings that we're renting right now, and we try to hold events for our residents as often as we can. So that's the business I work within, and John and Alyssa are the two founders. Essentially, John is the original founder, the owner. We have a general contractor, Alex, who's very talented. Two other contractors that work full-time with him. And everybody else from a construction side, we subcontract out. And where do I come in? So, I am responsible for just about everything on the administrative side, which doesn't do it justice. It's anything from our accounting, balancing our books, and we have hundreds of transactions that go out within a given month. So it's that to applying for permits. Anytime that we need to set a dumpster down, for instance, we need to get street closure permits, that sort of thing. To coordinating with maintenance, making sure that helping make sure that our construction is going according to schedule. And leasing. Leasing is a big part of my job. Any new apartments that we have coming up, I make sure that they're rented out. I help with community. So helping organize events like potlucks. That's probably my favorite part of my job, is the community aspect. So yeah, I'm very busy with it. I can easily fill 40 hours a week with this work. So that's what I spent most of my day yesterday doing, getting our books up to date. What I'm going to be doing today and tomorrow is applying for a draw from the bank. So we have money that we have been promised from the bank once we make certain progress. And, as each milestone's passed, I submit our receipts and our proof that that thing is done to the bank, and they send an inspector out. And if everything looks up to par, then they give us money, which we need right now because we are finishing up one building that we're going to be renting in December. So coming really soon. And so lots of purchases going on to the finishing of that, all the appliances and finishing touches. So that's what I have going on professionally today. And I think one thing that I'm learning, I'm learning a lot from this job. It's very helpful. And I love the people I work with. And I think one thing that I'm learning about myself is around this idea of communication. Please be more vague, Rachel. Say one thing I'm thinking about anyway. As you work so intimately with us, as I've, in my experience, worked so intimately with these startups, the last few jobs I've had are with startups, and helping build from the ground up, which I love to do. Looking forward to doing for my own business here very soon. Another topic, another post. On my mind a lot, though, as you can probably see just from my pause. So communication style. I was presented with this quote 2 times yesterday in one day. I think it was George Bernard Shaw. I'm going to get it. It's going to be sloppy, but it's something along the lines of like, one of the biggest pitfalls of communication is assuming it's already happened, which it was so interesting. I was presented with that same exact quote twice within like an hour, maybe 3 times. I don't know, whatever reason it jumped out to me. And it's interesting how often I'll just assume something is understood. I notice this within the people I work with too. One of us will assume that we're all on the same page, and as a result, there'll be an expectation that isn't met, or something will fall through the cracks, or the two people are just quite honestly not on the same page. And I thought how often I do this myself. Don't say something and just assume, because maybe I'm embarrassed to ask a question, a clarifying question. I just assume I go with my best instinct and roll with it because I'm proud and stubborn and I want to do it myself. So there's one. Maybe I'm just too nervous to ask. I don't want to know what the answer is. Nervous to ask. It's not that I don't want to know. Yeah, I don't want to know the answer. It's almost easy sometimes to just live in this vague realm, because then, if there's uncertainty, then there's chaos and drama. And that's kind of what my nervous system has been used to my 30, almost 4 years, is a little bit of chaos, a little bit of drama. Keeps me one step away from maybe being fully responsible for something if it goes awry. It keeps me in this cloud. And also it's a habit. So I've gotten in the habit, and I'm by no means slamming myself here. I'm just getting curious, where I do these things and what the impact is. Even sometimes with myself and with my goals, I'll be really vague about what it is I want. On the other hand, I've also seen myself go to another extreme, and that's over communicating and getting hyper focused on the details. We did this personality profile at one of my old jobs. It's called the Discovery Insights. Profound. Not usually a huge fan of personality psychology stuff because I feel it kind of puts us in a box. But this, based on 25 questions, spit out like almost a 30-page report. And it felt pretty accurate. And one of the things that stuck out to me was it said, for Rachel, we must agree on what exactly needs to be done. And sometimes it will get so granular that it will stall me. So it's perfectionism, really, I think, at its core. It's kind of another brand of this all or nothing kind of behavior. Either I am, the vague goal setting is the nothing, and then when I feel like I need clarity, I go into the all. So that's when I dive into the details to the extent that, let me give you an example, just like planning out my schedule for the day. It might be like to the minute, to the 10-minute mark. And there's places for that precision, but I think it's something to be built up to, just like any habit. When I think of the people that I've coached on nutrition, for example, there's so many of us that are all or nothing with nutrition. It's like I either do not waver from what I say I'm going to eat, and there's no wiggle room whatsoever. And if I make one slip up or cheat, I hate these terms, by the way, but if I am not adhering to that, then I go off the rails and I binge eat. Also because you're probably calorie deprived at that point too. And so it's the same thing. There's a lot of slews of factors. I pause because there's a lot of factors that go into that. But I'm thinking about the parallels between that and scheduling, or in that and working, the work process for me. I say I'm going to stick to this plan, and because life is the way it is, I fall away from it. And out of shame, guilt, frustration, I go completely off of my plan and hang out in my bathrobe for a week. I do some work from my bathrobe, but I will hibernate and actively rebel against the schedule and work. So I've kind of veered between or from communication to work habits and all or nothing thinking, but I think they're related. I think the way we communicate to ourselves, I'm picking off a callus. Gross. The way we communicate with ourselves plays a role in how we show up to our goals and to our habits every day. And that also bleeds over into how we communicate with others. It's my half-baked idea today. I've already gone pretty long, but I'll just let that roll around in there.